Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope that you guys have had a great weekend. I hope that your weekend followed an awesome week last week. Um, if it did or if it didn't, what you have to understand is you are definitely in a position to change anything that you don't like about your situation. You are never helpless. You're never hopeless. You're never without power to change. The only reason that some of you feel like you're helpless is because you're buying into the illusion that is in front of you. When you understand that the answer and solution to every problem is waiting on you, that it's there, that it's in the mind of God, and that part of the mind of God is you, and that you have the ability to spiritually connect and to gain understanding and revelation and insight, and that this entire universe is nothing but consciousness feeding you what is there from the mind of God. You'll start to understand that I'm built for every challenge that I face. And you have to understand that if I don't like it, then I have the ability to change it. I don't get to change every situation and circumstance. I don't get to change how other people feel about me. I don't get to change the fact that there are going to be some times where you're sitting in a nice utopia and the vicissitudes of life roll into your paradise. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that after it rolls in and reality hits you, if it's not a result that you want, you can change it. You're never stuck in a place that you don't want to be in. That's an illusion that has trapped many of people, is the belief that this is my lot in life, that I can't escape it, just look at it. And what you don't realize is that you're declaring something as you speak it. Don't, that's not what I'm here for today. So I'm not going to get too much in that, but I just want to tell you, if you somewhere right now where you're not happy, invest yourself into changing it. Don't get caught up in complaining. Don't get caught up in, oh, woe is me. Don't get caught up in the whining mentality. If you're looking at something in your life and it's not what you want it to be, then you have to make up in your mind that you're going to take the necessary actions to change it. And then as you commit to moving in a direction that's more conducive of what you desire for your life, you'll find that God, life, the universe is aligning with you. See, the beautiful thing about faith is faith sets the demand. And then faith is also the conduit through which you execute the demand. Faith says, this is not the life. I'm going to live this life. And then the universe, God, and life has to respond to it. Not even God can deny faith. When faith says this is what it is what it is. The problem is a bunch of you are executing faith that speaks negative of you and what you desire in life. So you're claiming through faith negativity. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to have this. My marriage is going to fail. My children are going to be disrupted. You're speaking it. You're declaring it. And we know that things you declare with your mouth come to reality. So I want to talk to you about something that has really been on my heart. Because I remember going through some things in life. And I remember in those dark moments how I felt. And I definitely remember how I felt in 2012 when I was going through what I was going through then. And it was, unbelievable pressure. It's the worst year of my life if you're talking about the pressure of darkness. But I remember being told while traveling through that darkness that you do realize that Solomon said, and this was from one of my relatives who was deeply steeped in biblical scripture. And she said, don't be afraid of the darkness. And she said, God dwells in the darkness. That's what Solomon said. And Solomon did say, Solomon said, God dwells in the darkness, even the gross darkness, the tense darkness. God dwells. Darkness is not a void of God. Darkness is not an absence of God. Darkness is a place where the harvest is developed. And I had to learn that because I saw another one of the people that I admire from a spiritual level right this morning, that without the darkness, there can be no advancement, something to that nature. And what is it saying? It's saying that it's in the darkness that things happen, that you grow. Without the darkness, without the tribulation, without the trials, without the circumstances that squeeze and press you, you couldn't develop. It's just like going into the gym. You can't get a hardcore body without putting in some work and experiencing some discomfort and experiencing some pain at times, and understanding that that pain is not there to destroy you. That pain is an indication that you're being challenged at a level that's going to require growth and demand growth, and you will automatically grow to the level of the challenge. You know, my grandfather told me all the time, son, you're going to find yourself consistently going in storms are coming out of. You're not going to avoid the storm. The thing is, son, when you're in the storm, make sure the storm shapes you. Make sure the storm molds you. Make sure the storm challenges you enough that you come out of the storm a better man than you went in. That's how you elevate. That's how you grow. But then, so wait a minute, let's see. I believe it was T.D. Jakes that I heard one time. And, you know, some people are going to like, dude, I'm not here about who you like and who you don't like. I'm here about truth. If a person delivers truth, I look straight past the messenger and I get the message. I never judge the message based on the message, because I found truth in some strange places. And so I'm sitting up, and he said that the problem with a lot of people and the reason they don't reap a harvest is they got the seeds sitting on the shelf. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. What do you mean? So you got seeds, they're out there, they're visible. The seeds are visible. So the potential is literally visible. If you're looking at it, it's seeds sitting right there on the shelf. They're out in the day of light, the light of day. They're sitting there. You got these seeds and they're sitting on the shelf. Here's the problem though. As long as they're sitting on the shelf in the light, they're never going to produce a harvest. Why? Because seeds were designed to produce in the darkness. Listen to what I'm telling you. Seeds were designed to produce in the darkness. As long as you have the seed in the light, the seed cannot produce. It's in the darkness of the soil, in the privacy of the challenge, that the seed begins to pull in the nutrients in the soil. Everything that it needs, it pulls in. Everything that it doesn't need, it rejects. It's not exposed to all of the elements, only the things that it can access and use to produce the harvest. A bunch of you are trying to avoid the darkness, but that's where God puts in work. That's where you grow. That's where you become stronger. That's where God reveals himself in ways that you can't imagine. It's where the pure consciousness of God is 100% accessible. It's when you can hear best, see best, and receive an idea of where you're going. The answers are in the darkness. You can't get where you're trying to go. You can't have a harvest without the darkness. Seeds don't produce in the light. The light is where the seed manifests itself after it's produced. The light is where you celebrate the work of the seed, that the seed has produced the harvest, and now you can see it and everybody else can see it. That's where you celebrate it, but the work is done in the darkness. The work is done. Imagine how this works. Now, imagine why it requires faith. You plant the seed. Once you plant the seed, the potential is no longer visible to everybody else. Now, the seeds look good on the shelf because everybody that walks by sees the potential. But when you start to exercise the potential, the seeds have to be put into a dark space. Not everybody can see it, so not everybody's going to validate you. Not everybody's going to believe in you. Not everybody's going to sit around and say, look how awesome you are. People are going to look at you and think you're crazy because you're striving for something and there's no visible proof or evidence that what you're striving for is actually possible. They're looking at it through the lens of visible human sight, reason, and rationale. They're not operating on a plane of faith, so they can't understand what you're doing. They don't know how you're working because you've put the seed to work, and while the seed is at work, no one can see it. It's down. And see, here's where faith comes in. See, once you plant the seed, now you got to trust that the seed will produce what it is designed to produce. Now, there is an actual bamboo tree in a part of Eastern Asia. I want to say in China, but it's this bamboo tree. And when you plant the seed for this bamboo tree, for 5 years, you got to water it. Make sure you pull any weeds from around it that might come in and suck up the nutrients and draw the life from it. And for 5 years, no budding, nothing comes out the ground, nothing. 5 years, you're watering, you're pouring, and you're doing everything, and all you got is the faith that this seed is going to do what it's supposed to do, but you got no proof for 5 years. It's just there. You're watering. Imagine people who don't know you or know what you planted and walking by and watching you water something, and they say, okay, it'll be up next weekend. They come by next week and you're watering, you're guarding, you're de-weeding, and you're doing all the work to manifest a harvest from what you planted. But they can't see it. Week after week, month after month, year after year, nothing's happening. But in the 5th year, it buds and it sprouts up. It took 5 years of trusting that what you were doing was going to produce a harvest, because the seed was in the darkness and nobody, including you, could see what was happening underneath the soil. But here's the beautiful part. It took 5 years to see any proof that what you were doing was working. But in the next 90 days, they say it grows 90 to 100 feet tall in just 3 months. The harvest takes place. The work of the harvest takes place in the darkness. Some of you have been trying to circumvent life's struggles and hardships and difficulties, and you're looking for a place of comfort. No. What you've got to understand is that in that dark moment, it doesn't feel good. It feels like the world is against you. The weight of the world is on your shoulder, that nobody is there for you. You've got to, but in that darkness is a time that you get to spend in intimate relationship and communication with the designer of the universe, the creator of the universe, however you want to refer to the universe, to God. I'm not here to tell you what to call it or how to look. But if you're not connected to it, and if you're not trusting it, then you've got a problem, because life is not going to let up because you back up. Life is not going to say, okay. See, when you back up and you say, okay, I'm just going to do it like everybody else do, I'm going to play it safe, you get a false sense of security. Why? I don't know anybody that doesn't go through storms. I don't care how safe they play it. I don't know anybody that doesn't look up and say, man, how am I going to get out of this? Because I thought I played it safe. See, it's not in playing it safe that you are going to rise up. It is in knowing what your worth is. Now, here's something I'm going to drop on you. We're talking about seeds. So you plant a seed every time you have a thought. You're planting a seed every time you have a thought. Now, the thing is, are you allowing the seed to gestate? Are you allowing the seed to remain in the darkness? Are you consistently digging it up to keep checking if it's there? Interrupting the process. That's the first thing. You're planting seeds with your thoughts. Are you cultivating and planting the right seeds? See, they got some seeds that produce weeds. They got seeds that produce darkness and hardship. And you can literally create the muck you're in through your thought processes. You got to understand that your thinking is creating the seed. Hold on, I'm not finished yet. I want to drop something on you. Check this out. Again, this isn't about what your faith or your religion is. This is about what your relationship is with the Almighty, the Most High, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's got to be a one-on-one. It's got to be some trust developed. It can't be based off what mama told you. It can't be based off what somebody else. It can't be based off of last Sunday's sermon. It's got to be based off of what you know, what you've taken the time to dive into and understand. It can't be rigorous. It can't be dogmatic, because it's dynamic. In other words, you're going to learn something tomorrow you didn't know today. And if you are so dogmatic on what you learned today, you're going to miss what you need to learn tomorrow. And you're going to be stuck in a place where you can't progress. But check this out. I'm talking about seeds and harvest, but guess what? You are seed. You are a seed planted by God. And guess what? Seeds produce in the darkness. So there are some times that God is simply going to allow you to go through the darkness, because that's where you're going to produce. That's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to become something you weren't before you started the process. That's where you're going to get a little bit stronger, a little bit more force. You're going to become more of a beacon to people who need to know that what they're going through is not permanent. You're going to be a beacon for people who will have to learn that poverty is not their light in life. You're going to be a beacon to people that understand that no matter where their marriage has fallen, that it can be saved. You are going to be a beacon to sit up and teach children that what they desire and see isn't something that's unrealistic, no matter what the world is telling them, that God designed them to be great. You're going to be a beacon, but you got to go through the darkness. See, you're a seed planted by God, and then you're planting seeds. You want a harvest, but you don't want the darkness. It doesn't work that way. You want a harvest, but you don't want the darkness. Yeah, I know it's not comfortable. I know it hurts. I know that sometimes you feel alone. Sometimes you're frustrated. Sometimes it looks like no matter what you do, but it's in that darkness that something is developing on the inside of you. And there'll be some things that develop you won't recognize, but the people you come in contact with will benefit from the growth that you produced in that darkness. There can be no harvest without darkness. There's a season of darkness so that there can be a season of light. You can't have the light without experiencing the darkness. I've said it a number of different ways. There is no promise without first process. Many people want the promise, but they ain't ready for the process. You got to get your mind wrapped around the idea that what I'm enduring now is developing me. What I'm going through now can't break me because I'm built for this. No matter how uncomfortable it gets, I'm built for this. Those of you who have worked out understand that there are some moments, if you're really trying to get your body to the highest peak of performance, there are going to be some uncomfortable moments when you're trying to increase your cardiovascular endurance. You're going to have some moments where you're barely catching your breath. If you're trying to increase your sprint endurance, you're going to have some time where your legs are burning and your lungs are burning too. If you're trying to increase your power and force in your legs or in your chest or in your arms, they're going to burn, they're going to hurt. It's not going to feel good while you're doing it. You've got to trust the process of what I'm going through now is producing the body that I desire. I have to understand that that works the same way in every area of life. If I want to produce something, I've got to get myself to a place where it's uncomfortable, because that means it's challenging. If it's not challenging me, I'm not growing. That's how people reach plateaus in physical training. You done got to a place where you can pump it out and you stop there. I've been working with 200 and I'm gonna just get here. I'm knocking these 200s out. I go in I'm knocking, and you done plateaued. You're not growing anymore. You're at a standstill. Why? Because you haven't started to challenge yourself at the next level. I know the next level is uncomfortable because you're walking out of a space where you're dominant, where you're one of the people at the top, and now you're walking into a place where you may be the person at the bottom and you're unfamiliar with what's going on, but that's required to grow. You can't stay in a place where you know everything and you got everything and think you're growing. Yes, to a lot of people, you're going to look like you know a lot and you got a lot going on, but to your deepest yearnings, you're going to be failing. Why? Because you're not living up to your potential. Your design is indicative of your purpose. And until you start fulfilling that purpose, nothing you do is going to be satisfactory at the deepest recesses of your soul. You are going to have to be aware of the fact that seeds are designed to produce in darkness. Nothing you do is going to allow you to escape the darkness. But as Solomon said, God dwells in the darkness, even the gross darkness. There's no place that you can be in this earth that you can't be in tune and in touch with God. But you got to trust that the work you're putting in is going to produce. That's the seed. Don't keep digging it up. Don't keep going back. Put it in, water it, nurture it, give it access to what it needs. Trust that the darkness will do what the darkness does, produce a harvest. Some of you are ready to walk into a season of light. Don't give up now. Don't walk away from your harvest because it's hard. Don't walk away from your harvest because people are talking about you. Don't walk away from your harvest because you feel alone. Don't walk away from your harvest because it's been a few moments of delay. Delay does not mean denial. Some of my greatest experiences have come on the other side of delay. I'm going to get off of here. I hope that you are blessed and empowered, encouraged, inspired to move forward and do the things in life that you were designed to do. And I'm going to leave you with that. Look, I hope that this is an unbelievably powerful and forceful week for you. You've got to believe that what you're aspiring to up there is possible. And then you got to go out and go make it happen. You have to participate in your destiny. That's one of the elements. It's got to take place. You can't just sit up and hope that something else is going to happen. You have to participate in your purpose. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Live your life on full. I say this all the time. When you live your life on full, you down in. That's my goal. I wake up every day to live my life on full. The 21, almost 22 minutes, 22 minutes now that I've spent in front of you, I've given you everything I have. Why? Because that moment will never be given to me again. Everything I do, I try to give my best at it. I strive for excellence in everything I do. I'm never quite there, but I'm always striving because I don't want to leave anything behind. I want to die on E. I know that if I can live my life on full, that it's going to write a legacy for me that'll speak of me after I'm gone. That's how you impress your mark in history, by living life on full. On that note, I've got to get out of here. You guys have a great day.